Let me make sure the link working on my end. Give everybody time to wander in.
So now we're just all like sitting in super awkward silence while he clicks around. Is that
it? All right, I see people starting to hop in.
I'm just kidding.
It's all good.
I'm just following the crowd here.
That's the script. Super awkward silence right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's time for a beer.
All right.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I missed
Shouldn't
that.
it be some time for some Bordeaux, though? I mean, come on.
No, too early for that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Depends on the time zone. He just said we got places all over the world, so you can't judge for people who are at Bordeaux right now.
Yeah,
6 p.m.
Definitely all over the world. We got 17 people in here, so they all starting to trickle in. What's up, y'all? I just want to welcome, and this is a kind of a different episode. You know, it's been a while since we've been doing it, but now we've come in with a lot more people, a lot more information, and we're just gonna make this an experience for you guys. So, like I said, welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, episode 1 of the Round Table. So, first and foremost, I do want to say this is just the pillars of the Kingdom community discourse. So, this isn't financial advice or anything. I just want to make that clear. This is just us spreading what we believe and what we see, you know, what we like to look at in the market, and, you know, spread that with y'all, you know, for entertainment purposes. Let's say that. So today, I'm gonna have a couple people to share with y'all. Y'all all know Trying to Make It. He's tapping in, the Cube Master, M Finance, David Knight, and a couple other people, the Vix Queen, Carly B, me. So first and foremost, how everybody feeling? Trying to make it. What's up, bro? Everything good with you? Can you hear me?
What's going on, man? Chilling here, waiting for this weekend to finish so we could get back to the money. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly, bro. You can hear me?
Yeah,
Am I making good?
I got you. Parunga, what
Hello?
about you, bro? Everything good?
Cool.
M Finance.
Yeah, good weekend, and yeah, ready to see Monday and see what happens.
We got some more people hopping into the chat. Swing Hannibal.
Hey there, sir. How we doing?
Rock 879. Cool. All right, well, we got 25 people in here. That's good enough for me. So, first and foremost,
Futures are up.
Futures are up. I haven't even looked at them. Let's see if I can go ahead and share the chart before we even get started.
Oh, that's just pumping.
Oh yeah, futures is up 22.
Oh,
NQ
got
is up
both.
22. ES is up $4 right now. Cool. How did y'all?
Just about.
How did y'all feel about the market last week?
This market was insane.
Yeah, very crazy.
Why is it all after hours here is free? Right? That's what I'm saying. So what's up to you?
I think the best way to sum it up is everybody was like, "Oh shit, World War III," and now all of a sudden everything's in the clear. There's no problem. Everybody's happy. Market's taking off.
Makes you question everything. That's fair.
I was gonna say the war that's been going on. I know that's been a big thing for a lot of people that's been in the market lately. What's up, Cube? Let's go. Better than poker, but yeah, it says that everybody's kind of been wondering about you know, how the whole stuff with the Iran Israel is gonna be affecting the market and everything like that. My whole thing was, as of lately, I just been saying, hey, play calls until calls don't work anymore, and just wait and look for the opportunity to see weakness, you know what I'm saying, before just committing to the short side. Because I mean, as of lately, I got my chart pulled up right here. Let me see, share my screen real quick.
It's 100%. You know, it really all comes down to the fact, like, hey, you know, when the market's dumping and dropping, you don't want to try to catch a falling knife. Same thing here, but the opposite way. You don't want to, you know, try to stop a rocket. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I guess it's the same kind of ideology. You know, you don't want to fight the trend. The trend is your friend until it bends or until it
Right.
stabs you in the back, like how we say sometimes. Because it can switch fast. It can switch fast, and that's what TA and you know reading the data and you know catching up on what where the money's going and all these things. That's why it's important to make sure we know where everything's at.
Yeah, I agree. And I haven't really followed much of like the economic side as of lately. I just been really focusing on like the charts and somewhat of what's been going on with as far as like the power companies of the Mag Seven. I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of the stocks been going crazy, and one of the big things that a lot of people been waiting on is like Apple to erupt over the past couple of days. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of waiting too. We've been seeing Microsoft go parabolic,
Right.
been seeing Tesla lately, Meta, and on top of that, I mean Nvidia even's been moving crazy. But
Mhm.
Apple's just kind of been sitting there, just. I mean, honestly, it's been lagging around. I don't know what it's waiting on. I'm not sure if there's any catalyst that possibly could to move it. I mean, if you guys know anything that might be moving Apple, I mean, fill me in because I'm thinking it should have been pushed 230 by now.
Where's the
I'm
love,
gonna.
right?
I was gonna chime in really quick. I sent some DD to you guys. There's a volatility for Apple. It's VXAPL, and it
V
reads. It's CBO's way to read the volatility on Apple, and it's super duper duper low, which typically means that it's in an oversold status and it's ready to go. So I, you know, Apple's Apple, and Apple's always going to be Apple. So
Yeah.
I have some faith in it. Just my 2 cents.
I
No,
did
I
not know
completely
about
agree.
this. I did not
I
know
mean, the
about
one
this.
thing I know, like I've been watching Big Money, and they don't want it below 200. Every time it's dipped below,
Hmm.
Yeah,
they are
Yep.
slamming it back up hard,
absolutely.
like not
They
soft.
can't own it.
What's
Sorry,
that?
I just wanted to mention how if we remember June 2024, you guys remember when Apple ran like $14 that one day? That Apple when it moves like that, it doesn't tend to look back. So, you know, what Michael's saying and what Carly is saying as well, like it really does make a lot of sense in the long run.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the chart right here, and I mean, as of right now, like Michael was saying, that 200 level is just kind of it gets bought up every time. I do have
Hmm.
support around that 196, that 197 level. It hasn't seen that level since 618, around there, like early June. Yeah, early June was the last time it touched that 196 level, and since then, like Michael said, it's been holding that 200. So my biggest thing out the money would probably be that 230. I would like to see it at least make a run somewhere around this 200, make a gap up and make a move up to this 206 spot next, and then up from there we can do like 210. But um, I really think it can go higher.
Throw something at you, royalty, to think about.
Uh huh.
To everything else has kind of pumped, other than maybe even Google did at the end of last week. But if Spy's going to keep running, it has to come from somewhere, and Apple is still at the top. So,
I agree.
it's the only one that
Hmm.
hasn't run yet.
What's do
That's
anybody
true.
do anybody know offhand what's the weighting on Spy and Q's with as far as Apple goes?
I know it's hefty. I don't know the exact number. I'm gonna have to look that up, bro.
Let me see if I can find it in TradingView real the the
Or
breakdowns.
let's race to see who gets it first.
But I know
So I do know
Apple was at least
it's up
one or
there.
two. Let's see if we can find the breakdowns of it. I'll just go to Google. SPY holdings
My shit's still loading, bro.
by weight. All right, so
Futures. So
let me bring this up. So as of April 8th, 2025, it says Apple is like 7.1% and Microsoft is 6.5. I need to see
What's NVIDIA?
what's Nvidia.
Yeah.
Let me go to Invesco. That's probably more of a reputable site.
Just to compare the two.
All right, so as far as the Qs, all right, so this is from Invesco. Nvidia is 9%, Microsoft is 8%, Apple is 7%.
All right. I was just wanting to compare between the king and everything else.
Right.
You know about that, huh?
So this is as of 3/31/25, and this is for the QQQs. Let's see what SPY's top holdings are.
You got Microsoft all the way at all time highs. $500 was a psychological zone we rejected from.
You
I
said
mean, we were 50 cents off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 50 cents off. Microsoft hitting $500, which is insane.
Okay, so it says as far as June 27th of the SPY, the top 10 holdings, Microsoft is at 3.99%, Nvidia is at 3.40, Apple is at 2.33, Amazon 2%, Meta 1%, Broadcom 1.74, Tesla 1.4, JP Morgan 1.4, Berkshire Hathaway 1.4, and Netflix is 1.2. So those are the top 10 holdings of SPY as of June 27th, 2025. So, but it makes sense that once something cools down, and I think in the coming days we should see. Let's see where Apple is at. Yeah, Apple's kind of on a run, as you can see. It just breached that little resistance that it had at 153, and now it's pushing it closed at 157.75. So, Nvidia is definitely pulling weight right now after that. What, a month-long consolidation?
Yeah.
I mean, that was crazy, but we're gonna see. Do
I never
anybody?
thought.
Is there anything as far as like economic we need to watch out for next week?
Next week is going to be not a great week. I mean, there's only 3.5 days. You know, a lot of traders just take the whole week, so they're, like the big boys, they're trading from the beach, and it's just going to be kind of low level, nothing exciting. So I would just proceed a little bit with caution and not get too crazy with your. I wouldn't buy many options for the week.
Isn't
Just my warning.
I was gonna say, isn't it a short week next week?
Yes, yeah. Half a day Thursday and Friday's off, so we only have 3.5 trading days.
That sucks. Like, so I mean,
It's
I can
bad.
imagine Theta's gonna have a it's gonna be hell anyway this week. Let's see, we got nothing really big Monday. Chicago PMI, FOMC member Bostic and Goldsby speaks. Tuesday, red folders is Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks at 8:30. Final manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing JOLTS job opening. ISM manufacturing prices and a couple other small yellow folder stuff. Wednesday we got non-farm payroll. Thursday we have the average hourly earnings and non-farm roll employment change, and then ISM service PMI later on Thursday. And then, like Carly said, half a day Thursday, and then closed all day Friday. So
I want to say something really quick, and I said this in one of my posts. With all of these Fed people speaking, there's a job that's coming opening, and it's kind of an important job. So everybody's kind of in line for this job. So I kind of take what they say as far as cuts, especially July cuts, with a grain of salt, except for Jay Powell. He's going to tell the truth. He's not going for the next job. So I would be careful with what they're saying. Just my observation.
So let me ask you something. The whole controversy between Trump and Jerome Powell, like, how do you necessarily take that? I mean, does the indecisiveness between the two, do you think that has an issue as far as the direction of the market, or?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you guys saw what happened to the market when he sent the truth out that he was going to fire him. The market tanked.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that. They don't want that to happen, because what's going to happen is he's going to put in I'm going to try to keep this apolitical. He's going to put in something that he knows is going to go in and do some crazy shit, like a 100 or 200 bips cut, bam, one time, and just see what happens. And the market does not like that.
Right.
Because the next cut, or the next meeting, they're going to have to adjust, because it's going to throw things into a tailspin. So, no, he has to keep Jay Powell there. He has to. Let him run his course. And I think all of his buddies had a talk with him about that, because we haven't heard the firing yet.
Okay. And one of your biggest indicators that you like to watch is the VIX, right?
Yep.
Okay. For some of the new traders here and the ones that's listening in, could you give us a brief rundown on the VIX and how you like to use it as far as an indicator for the market?
Yeah. So I look at it in futures, because the way our market has been working lately is most of the action is happening off trading hours.
Right.
And then once we get to our open, there hasn't been a lot of volatility. We just are kind of, we may open really good, up 1%, but it kind of just stays around there. So I've been paying more attention to what it's doing before the opening, because that's a lot of foreign investors. There's a lot of things that go on during that time. But I look at what the level is, and then I just start looking at volumes. And that's what I look at all day long. That and VVIX. Because VVIX is volatility of the volatility. So it's where the VIX looks at the volatility of SPX contracts. VVIX looks at the volatility of VIX contracts. So it's telling me how much is being sold in the VIX contract. So if it starts to rise, then I know that the fear is rising a little bit when the VIX is rising also.
Okay.
So I just watch volume all day. I mean, that's what I do. I watch if it's heavier on the call side, if it's heavier on the put side, where the strikes are. And then I know, if there's, like on Friday, there was $156,000 contract purchase made. I can't remember what the strike was. It was like some random number, 34 or something. That, I think that was one of the reasons we got that little spike in the VIX towards the end of the day.
Right. Okay.
So that's the kind of stuff I watch, because that's a volume that size is a smart money. That's a whale, that's a hedge fund, that's somebody important that sees something, or a mechanism was triggered that said, oh, we need to get in now. And it's because they're scared, or they think it looks good, or, what if it was a call or a put or strike or whatever. That's how I read it.
All right. Do you have any levels that you like to watch for, like as far as the VIX goes?
Well, obviously, if it's rising,
Okay.
I mean, for me, because I want high volatility
Okay.
because it means things are moving. I hate when it gets to like the 18 range because it means everything is moving smoothly and is functioning as it should be, and there's not a lot of volatility, and
Okay.
I don't. To me, that's complacency in the market.
Right.
You know, and we are not in a complacent environment. We have no idea what's happening with tariffs. We have a supposed ceasefire in the Middle East, which is ludicrous considering the Middle East has been fighting for thousands of years. Trump's one bomb didn't stop that, but you know, we have economic data that we know at some point is going to get soft. There's just so many things that are unknown, and then we have this nice complacent market like everything's working, and it's concerning to me.
Okay. All right. Well, does
But
anybody
I'm
else?
curious.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would love to hear what everybody else thinks about it because they think more like a retail investor.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, does anybody else want to give their outlook on, anything about like, their state of where they think the market is going or could be going?
Or should be.
I'm gonna say we see all-time highs next week or two. I think it keeps going.
You think we keep pushing?
Yeah, I think we keep pushing.
My boy.
I think investor sentiment stronger than anything else, and I think Powell is fired by August or September.
Yeah.
You
Just
think
my
he
opinion.
gets fired?
Yeah, I think they'll fire him or push him out one.
I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't hate that because that shit's gonna get exciting.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right. As far as me, I'm looking at the VIX, and the VIX is kind of something that I'm kind of getting used to look. I used to look at it once before, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of strayed away from it. I watched SQQ, I watched a couple of other tickers as far as that goes, but I'm getting back in the mode of watching the VIX, and as of right now, like I said, we have been seeing a declining VIX, but we've also been seeing the VIX bounce around this level that we are at right now. So right now it's approaching support at like that $16.50 range. And like Carly B said, the VIX isn't something that you trade. It's more of a fear and greed indicator. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we never.
Okay. So the fact that is approaching support and we've seen a bounce, we saw it trade below here all that Thursday and Friday. So with this declining, we were seeing SPY push towards all-time highs, and then Friday we saw the VIX spike back up toward that $17 range. And what did we see on the SPY? We seen the SPY, come back down before the VIX dropped, and the SPY did what? Run right back up. So as of right now, from looking at the VIX, I'm seeing a support level. This would be a level that I would start to watch. It's kind of a, in my opinion, it's kind of a, I wouldn't say it's neutral, but it's neutral. Like it's approaching. This is becoming a kind of a neutral area. If we drop down lower towards a harder support level, which is around like 1465. So I think anywhere below, if the VIX drops anywhere below 1465, I think that'll be greed in the market, and I think you'll want to start wrapping up anything that you have SPY related, because the VIX probably will start to look for a reversal back up to 16 once it drops below that 1463. So that's just my take on it. I'm sorry.
And you're right. When you start getting to the 14 level, that is a very overbought market, and most likely there's going to be a sell-off coming. 18 is really its mean reversion, and it has this innate function that it always wants to tether back to 18, whether it's above it or below it. So 16 is more on the calm side, and 18 is more in our current environment. 18 is kind of more of a normal area. Mm-hmm. So I think 16, when it starts to hit 16, you'll usually start to see a little sell off.
Okay.
Just where we are right now, and that those numbers change, but right now we're kind of on the brink.
Yeah, if it drops any lower than where it is now, underneath the $16 mark, like I said, I got support around at mid $14. I would look anywhere below that. I think you can take spy shorts, spy puts on discount and be able to hold those for at least a day. Well, I said at least a week. At least a week, and you should be able to print fairly decent on spy puts if the VIX drops below this 1465 level. So,
I ditto.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So, next week, like I said, futures. Now it was up 22. Now it's up 57, 58, and rising. As of right now, as far as NQ goes, I haven't even opened up my Top Step app.
I just got out of NQ. I was slowing down up here, but up about $200 so far. So.
I was gonna say I haven't even opened up my Top Step app yet, but since Monday, I mean the market's just been on a straight upside tear. It looks like it could be headed toward the 23, 165, 162 level as far as NQ goes. ES broke highs at 61.69, and I haven't really charted ES, but it's deciding to push up a little bit higher than previous previous highs. So Friday's highs on ES is sitting right around that 62.38.75. So if it breaks out above that, then we might see some more continuation above that 62.38.75 level. So if you're looking at futures, if you're trading futures, I'll watch that for a breakout and a continuation to the upside. But outside of that, next week, before I dive into it, do any of you guys have any stocks or any particular tickers that you guys want to share, or that's on your watch list or anything?
Not currently. I'm still looking around this market right now. We were talking about NQ, and I was just charting it for a couple minutes here.
Let's see. Well, as far as I go,
I was looking at Meta. Meta was definitely one of those names for me.
Yeah.
I had a target of 740 upside. Once where were we? We had a 718 pullback last week at some point. From there, there was this like giant candle right in pre-market. It literally opened up at 740, and I was like, all right, let me just mark the top of that candle, and let me just watch the space in between 718 and 740. And from that moment on, we went all the way to 735, and then pulled back now to like around 731.
Yeah, because 741 is right at all-time highs. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at too. So it's extremely interesting to me. I do see a little bit more upside room to it. It could probably hit that 740 target to just hit the top of my rising wedge I got here. And a little pullback would be the most safest thing to do, healthiest thing to do. But, irrational markets don't ever match with a healthy market.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been getting on to futures in the community, in the kingdom. Top Step, Blue Sky, Take Profit Trader. I think Bordeaux, he's here in the discussion room. He's been creating a lot of helpful content on trading, uh, trading futures, setups on trading futures. So I don't know if he can hop to it real quick, but if he can, you can drop your YouTube channel in the chat on YouTube and get everybody exposure to the way that you can trade futures and make profits without putting yourself in danger. So
Yeah, I can do that.
definitely. Um,
Trade the VIX on futures.
No, I normally do just Dow futures. That's it.
Okay.
I wanted to try the VIX.
The VIX is really, really exciting to trade on futures. It is not for the faint of heart, but it's fun. You can trade one day, I think 1 week, 1 month. There's like a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day. There's some fun stuff on there, but it's literally like playing Vegas. So be careful, but it can be fun.
Especially if you catch it at the right time. Imagine catching that $14 low going
That's,
long.
that's exactly right. Yep. So
Fuck.
throw that out there.
um,
All right.
hey, lil bro, I see you got a chart up. Did you want to share your chart?
Oh no, I just got it up here, and then probably down the road I'm probably gonna point something out.
Okay, because I just backed out of it and seen you got a stream going. If you got anything you want to show off, or anybody got something they want to show off, just let me know.
Let's look at Hood. I know somebody mentioned in the comments Hood earlier, so I want to give Hood some light real quick.
All right, well I'm
Beautiful charting I got over here. So I'd love to update it. I remember the last time. If anybody is an OG here, and you guys remember the last time we've had these streams, me, Royalty, I don't remember who else was in that stream particularly, probably Fridge too. We specifically talked about Hood. We were focused on Hood down at these $40 levels in April. We were also very aware of it at these $50 levels. By the way, we had this beautiful falling wedge breakout, and ever since then we've been rising. Sentiment did shift above 58, like I had marked right here, and ever since we broke that level, it's just been nonstop euphoria. So now the question is, how high can we go, right? And now I think I have a good idea when it comes to that answer. We're stuck between a nice low support and resistance zone. Typical supply and demand kind of situation here. We've been selling off here, buying it back up here, selling off here, buying back up here. Now the question is tomorrow morning, if the market continues with the sentiment that we see currently in the NASDAQ, if we see that bullishness, we could definitely bounce from this little area all the way back up to this demand zone, and then supply zone, and then continue pushing past it to possibly break these weak highs. But the downside here is a little bit more prevalent. If you look at the RSI on the 4-hour, it does need a little bit more work. We are a little bit, it's a little bit neutral, but we're coming down from overbought territories. The hourly is a little bit nice as well, but we do have a very textbook bear flag kind of playing out here as well. So the possibility of us breaking down below this $82 level and then coming down to maybe 81, possibly down to 78 to find some support within that wedge is very plausible. So I would play my cards a little carefully here with Hood. But if we do break out above that $85 zone, I'll start looking towards $90. So below 81, watch for 78. Above 85, watch $90. But it doesn't look too bad currently where it's at, but it's definitely rising wedging.
Bro, Hood does look dope. Like, I remember probably it was around when it was sitting around like I think it was 65 or 60 something. It was around where you got the change of structure on your chart. I was like, man, Hood look good to at least push $80 at least by the next month, and here we are.
It's insane to see the where that TA can lead, and it's crazy because during that time that we were trading, we were analyzing it. A lot of people were really iffy about the stock. Even $50 looked a little like, oh, is it too expensive up here? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But It's crazy to see how far it's coming. And then it comes to show you, it comes to show you to anybody here that's, new in investing or trading, at the end of the day, stocks can move and it can happen in a very short amount of time and during the least expected environments. So, it's always going to be important to look at the chart, read it, and trust what you see because it goes a long way.
Bro, did anybody see the flush on Palantir?
I actually didn't. How was that?
Oh, you caught it?
No, I didn't see it. My fault. I was gonna say, like, how was that? What was going on?
Oh,
Damn,
man.
130, 130.
So Marcus
Jesus
Victor
Christ.
had a really good post about that. I don't know if you guys follow him. He's a little bit quieter, but it was rebalancing day for the end of June, end of the quarter. So like Google, shot up too. Right at the end, there were so some of those bigger ones, some of the ones that had run too much, had to come down, and vice versa. That was kind of a known thing at the end of the quarter.
I saw that post actually. Now that you mention it, I saw it. I read it, and I definitely meditated on that whole fact because it was my first time seeing something like that. Super interesting.
Bro,
Yeah, some of the stuff I try and post every now and then, like how Wisdom Tree publicizes when they're going to do their rebalancing and stuff like that. Not everybody does that, but yeah, at the end of June, the small caps always do that at the end of every quarter. So I don't remember exactly what he posted, but yeah, that stuff is really interesting to watch. How those algorithms will shoot that up like that.
only person I saw post about Palantir was Jim Cramer, and I knew something was finna happen.
Like Jim Cramer's talking about it. It's not too good.
Hey, once Kramer started putting your stuff on a pedestal, man, something
Start
finna
selling the
happen.
bag.
Hey, start taking profits or start buying what
Yeah,
it
'cause
wanted to. Y'all know,
Because that means Kramer wants a piece of that.
bro. RX need Kramer to say something.
Oh man.
Honestly,
I was gonna bring up a question now that Michael brought up small caps. Like, what do you guys personally think about IWM this year? IWM had a great run last year. It definitely woke a lot of people up, especially bag holders and IWM who bought that top that a long time ago. And now we're seeing it where it's at right now. I see a beautiful inverse head and shoulder pattern on the daily chart, a breakout and support, and now we're seeing above 217, 214 right now is where we're at, kind of. I would like to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about that?
Before we jump to that, Carly, were you finna say anything about RX, or was you just hopping in about something?
Good question, but I do want to. Sorry, my dog. I just was going to get involved at some point. When that rebalancing happens, is there always an instant bounce back, like the following week?
After the rebalancing, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that's up to the rest of the market.
I was gonna say I'm not sure.
That's up to retail to decide now what to do with it now.
Okay, all right. Really quick on small caps, there is also a volatility reading on IWN or on Russell 2K, and it's RVX, and it's low. It's like at a calm level too, so I wouldn't hate that.
I like that.
You said it was
Yeah.
RBX?
Yep.
Cool.
And 22 is like its calm level.
I'm
Means
definitely
I have
gonna
room.
take a look at
We
that.
got some more room. I like that. Yeah, no, I definitely, because I have a bearish FEG around, it starts with 222 down to 218. The 20 and the 200 started coming for me as well. I mean, we're entering a bullish state if we haven't been in it already. I like what I'm seeing here. I guess it all depends on the on retail bulls here. If the market keeps pushing up, I don't see IWM not following suit.
Interest rates have a huge bearing on small caps. They need a lower interest rate. So if there's increased talk about a July, that's probably helping it. If that gets knocked down, it could cause a little problem.
Because the interest rate cuts, I think that's what helped it last year. That's what had it going crazy.
Absolutely. Yep.
No, yep. Refreshing my memory now, 100%.
And if mind me throwing this in here, like I know there have been people talking about buy international right now because the U.S. is overbloated and blah blah. I think small cap internationals especially because they run into the same things that Carly's talking about, but a lot of that borrowing ends up coming back to the U.S. dollar, and with it falling, their interest rates are essentially doing the same thing that ours did, when they did that. So I think small caps international is going to be good. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Is there an ETF for that?
There are a few. So, like, there's a small cap value. I know Avantis has one, is AVDV or something. There are a few of them out. There are a few of them out there. I just tend to. I mean, I read a lot, so I find them. Or I just go a few bigger cap ones. But I haven't looked into it enough. I just was kind of brainstorming that this weekend. That with a falling dollar and with gold the way it is, small caps are really going to benefit in the rest of the world from it, especially emerging markets. So
I am very, very, very bullish on emerging markets right now. The stocks that I've held in them have done the best in a while. So I like the idea of a small cap, an international small cap.
So DGS is the first one that comes to mind. Wisdom Tree, that's an emerging markets rising dividend or just a dividend. It's an emerging markets dividend, but I believe it's small caps, or small and medium, maybe a good place to start. Yeah, I can do a write-up on that later.
Okay, cool.
So much information. Like y'all really just went over my head on the cool. But it's all good. It's all good.
I swear to
You
God.
have to be careful sometimes, man. Who was it you I was talking to earlier, dude? There are sometimes no, it wasn't you. There was somebody, I was looking at Yield Max, and they have like their type in there. And it's SS and S and B and BC, buy to close, blah, blah. Just some of that stuff. It's hard when we did it for so long because I do take it for granted. Like I read the codes faster than I read words. So.
Hey, matter of fact, since you bringing up Yield Max, I've been seeing that you've been posting like big things on ULTY, right?
Yeah.
I've been liking ULTY. The more that I kind of look at it and I look at how much the price is valued. Hey, look, bro, I'm about to switch off. I'm finna open up the chart on ULTY.
Oh, 100%. You're good. Don't even worry.
And some of that I haven't, and I'm going to let you talk to some of the other stuff on ULTY. The reason why I like it is I'm a wheeler at heart. That's a big part of what I did for my career. I sold a lot of options, and a lot of it was just risk protection and stuff like that. But the fact that I can review what they're doing every day, they're going after app and CoreWeave and but they have the money that they can go after all of them. Whereas if I go after one, I really got to pick the right one. You know what I mean? So I just really like what they're doing, and I can follow it. If I don't like what they're doing, I can sell it that day. If they get into too risky stocks or whatever, but I can audit it day to day. And they pay every week, so it's not like I have to get married to it.
So how often do they rebalance their holdings?
From what I can see, they are selling their straight weekly wheeling.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to flood this all with screenshots, but I was talking to some other people earlier, and their intraday file from Friday, you can see where they rolled Fridays to this week. What was it, Thursday, right? That option's the 3rd.
Okay.
Whatever day the 3rd is. But you could see them, so they're buy to close, and you could see them selling the new one. So they're rolling them on Fridays every week.
Okay. That's interesting. And then as far as their chart goes, I'm looking at it, and the price seems to consistently hold right now between $6.30 and $6. So right now we've been seeing, if I'm watching the charts, we've been seeing a month-long consolidation right now between that $6.30 and $6 price range, and it's been consistently paying well.
And that's why I'm starting to get in there now rather than before. I know people say they fixed that and it's weekly distributions now, but that really didn't change. What they really changed, holding some of the underlying shares, getting some of that growth, the way that they're doing the puts now. So, approximately 5% of their, at the beginning at least, of their premiums are going to puts right away of the underlying, but the actual managers themselves are allowed more room to adjust that as needed. So I looked at ASTS, and they are almost 1-to-1 on puts versus the call premiums now. I haven't looked at that chart or whatever, but I assume it's gotten really, really high again. Or it was just because of Friday. Maybe they sold some of them. You know, they probably had some in the money calls. I am just starting to do a really deep dive, and it's gonna take me downloading it every day. Or automating it somehow. So
E-Rock and A20 said, do they have to buy Thursday to get the weekly payout?
for Alti,
Yeah.
it's even before.
I was gonna say I can
Thursday?
look up
I
and see
think
when the
it's-
recording date is.
I want to say it's Tuesday this week.
Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Let's see, ULTY. Okay, Rock 879 says Wednesday is the day that you'll have to buy in.
That sounds right. Yeah, because the X date is Thursday, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay. So yeah, the X date and the recording date.
But they
is
do
Tuesday.
declare it, so you've got 24 hours or whatever to still buy.
Okay. And it actually paid out the previous week. It paid out 9 cents. The week before that, 0.875. The week before that. So I mean, it's constantly been paying. Between, I mean, at lowest right now, it's been 8 cents. At highs, 11 cents. So I mean, it's not.
All of
bad.
I've been using 9 cents as a really safe estimation when I'm building some of my reports.
And I agree because this is something I wasn't big on it because when I first started checking out yield max stocks, it wasn't too appealing because of the 9 cents when I was seeing like YMAX and YMAG was paying like 13 cents. But then when I look at the actual the consistency that ULT holds as far as the price range, I'm like, man, after a couple of weeks, if you buy at $6, well, if you buy anywhere between $6.30 and $6, I mean, each week you'll be able to drip those dividends back into it and have a nice DCA. You know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't really moved outside of their range with consistent dividends. So y'all showed me the light. I actually like ULTY as far as, you know, just kind of holding money. And then as far as the downside risk, I mean, I don't see it going no lower than that 525 level that it hit in April. So even if it did drop that low, I mean, you should have a healthy amount to drip back into the reinvestment to catch that dip too. So I think it's pretty dope. Let's see. I think Trina was finding. Oh, Michael, you got your stream up? Oh, never mind. You got it down.
So, you know, it's funny. I didn't realize that I was on mute
Okay.
trying to talk with you. But yeah, I was trying to show this quick. So, yeah, what you were talking about. And I just pulled it back from when they started kind of going weekly, right? And was it the 13th of March or whatever? But yeah, I mean, putting it in the beginning of April and just being able to visualize, I think, you'll see that, you know, that break even and see it go down like that. Because, I mean, not only has the price been consistent, but yeah, I mean, it's recovering right away, like all that fun stuff. And you can sell $6 CSPs for July, you know, if you want, and get your thing that way.
Now you talking money. Now you talking money.
You're honestly better off just buying them and collecting, because with every 100 shares, you're going to get, what is it, 9 times, $36 a month, right?
Okay.
9 cents.
That seems $9
$9 a week, $36. Yeah. I mean, so you're talking about 27 after taxes. So, yeah. So you're actually, I mean, unless you're going to be able to sell it for $40, which I doubt, you're better off just collecting the dividends. But if you're worried about the price going down, you know, that's one way to do it. It's still 20% a year. I mean,
I was gonna say, and it doesn't have it shouldn't roll over too much like some of the other yield max stocks that we've seen. Like I know everybody loves MSTY, but depending on where you bought in at, and some of the other stocks too, but depending on where you bought in at on some of these tickers, you know, your drip probably buying the dip constantly. I mean, because depending
Yeah,
on where you
yeah.
bought
And
in at,
the people who got in early on MSCY and Alti for that
bro.
obviously are feeling that now. But and I did wait. Like I make moves now.
I was gonna say at one point it was what 46.50, and now the price sits at 21. I would like to grab some MSTY if it comes back down to 20. If it hits 20, I would like to scoop up some MSTY there, just because I mean it sounds fun. Sometimes y'all getting the $1 or $2, and then I think previously people were getting like $4 a share or something like that. So
that's still why I like Alti for true income. I mean, MSTY if you got it in, in a Roth, and that you can use to invest other stuff or dripping it or whatever. But like if you want, you get a paycheck, you want to know how much, at least a minimum of what you're getting paid, right? So that's why I like ULTY for that 9 cents. It's just, I love Misty too.
I was gonna say for anybody that's invested in Misty, WNTR is the inverted ticker for Misty, and I think it's been paying like $4 on the payouts, and right now it tends to hold this $36 level. It has more downside to 30. Of course, it's an inverted ticker, so it's not made to rise. But as of right now, it's been holding the $36 level, and it's been paying out a little more than MSTY. So you can take a buy in WNTR below $36, and if it recovers, it goes in the green, and you probably get a higher payout for the meantime that you can take that money and reinvest it in MSTY if you so desire. That's just what I'm picking up from my short time of dealing with these yield max stocks. But that's what's so good about this team. There's so many ways to make money, even though I'm not the best at all of them. One of these guys, I can promise you, can give you some dope information on how to make money inside of the market. One of our newest members, along with Carly B. Me, is Perunga. And did I say that right? Perunga?
Yeah, I mean, you're good.
Okay. And he does a lot of the sell side trading in the market. Bro, you want to give us a little insight on, pretty much what you find profitable in the market, or what you feel comfortable with more so in the market?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the wheel. I mean, I started with the wheel, selling a cash secured put, letting it get assigned potentially, then selling covered calls on that. That was always a nice little way to start out and kind of learn the process. Mm-hmm. Spreads are nice to limit your upside, downside. Obviously limit your upside sometimes too. Yeah, it's really, like we're talking about this yield max. It's kind of like, I mean, I'm sure it's your capital available. It's like, why invest in the yield max when you could just do it yourself?
Right.
But, it's probably a capital thing. I mean, MSTR is like what, 360 or 70 or something. So you don't really have $36,000 necessarily to do a cash secure put. 380. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of high, especially if you're in like a Robinhood where they make you hold the whole collateral. But am I answering your question? I guess.
Yeah.
Looking mostly for me, I'm just I'm just looking at like popular stocks. Definitely, especially with a put, you want to do it stuff that you want to own, because at the end of the day, you don't want to pick something with nice premium that's a trash company.
Yeah.
Because you're going to end up with shares and it's going to drop potentially and never recover.
And that's something that I need to actually, jump in more with you guys. I started out, I was telling somebody, I think I was talking to Chief, and I was telling him, I was like, man, when I first got into the stock market, right before COVID, like I didn't do no shares, I didn't do dividend investing, I didn't learn the sell side of the market, spreads or nothing. Like I just jumped straight into options, calls, and puts, like nothing else outside of that. And that's why it just I just stuck with it, because it was decent for me. But you guys, still to this day, y'all expose so much outside of, you know, just calls and puts, so many different strategies. I see you name so many different butterflies and iron corridors. It's crazy, bro. So I commend you on that, and it's definitely like a huge thing to have to the team. So I look forward to learning
Thanks,
from
man.
you on some of this stuff, man.
I'm happy to show everyone, and it's like you starting and learning with just calls and puts. It's really all about doing it. You can read as much as you want, but until you start doing it, it really never clicks.
Right.
At least in my experience.
No, I agree. Paper
So
trading, you know,
yeah.
paper trading is dope when you're
Right,
trying to figure
right.
out a strategy, but you never really get that emotional side of it until you just actually have some on the line to lose. So that's a big, you know, that actually having live money in the market is a big thing that you have to get adjusted to. I know all you guys have experienced that versus, you know, just paper trading. You know what I'm saying? So
I think you have to experience real loss to become a better trader.
exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn as much from the successes. Actually, play more from the failures than the successes.
Yes.
Especially trading. Yeah.
That's why I'm heartbroken that
Absolutely.
Lando disappeared, because I was like, you just had the best education ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So Rock asked me to look at PLTY. All right, so PLTY right now it's approaching support right now at 60. Below 60, the next level of support would be around this 47 to 48 dollar range. Now, the only thing with me and PLTY, the reason why I haven't referred anybody to it, because I don't want that slow rollover in price action to be a possibility, kind of the same way a lot of people saw in like MSTY. So right now, I just drawing this little arc right here, and I'm just gonna see how prices react as time goes. But if it doesn't cross beyond this little arc and keep going, you know, either to the right of it or above it, then we could see it slowly start to roll back down towards, you know, the early 49, low 50 range, and retest lows. Because I mean, this particular yield max ETF only been out. It's only been out not even a full year yet. So in my opinion, it's still building a valuation, even though it does mirror Palantir. So I don't know if Palantir is gonna keep running the way that it has, or if it needs to pull back some. But like I said, it breached about 3 levels of support Friday. One level at 140, another level at 136, and then it finally found support at the 130 level. So it's still holding an uptrend as of right now. We just have to see how it opens Monday, whether it's going to close or open flat and work its way back up, or open with a gap up, or if it's going to break this trend right here, this uptrend that has been holding since May. So just something to keep eyes on. If it gaps up and it holds, I think it'll be okay to at least get a starter position here at the 130s. And if we just completely break structure, then I think we'll have to go back and look at it. Because if we look at the 3-month chart, all right, so the 3-month chart on Palantir is completely bullish. It opened up around $83, and this is in April, and right now we're sitting at $130. So, I mean, that's crazy movement. It's been bullish every quarter for a while now. So, I mean, I think every dip as of right now is a discount. So let's just keep watching this 130 level going into this following week, and we'll just see how everything plays out. I know some of the guys, Chad and Ram, they've been taking a lot of nice profits from those PLTY payouts. But as far as just buying in and holding, I'm kind of skeptical as long as this out is $61 range, which it has been holding pretty fairly decent. So somebody said hymns. Anybody here been trading?
I feel like
Anybody here been trading hymns?
No, not at all.
I wish I caught that bottom, bro. I'm looking at the daily chart right now, and I wish I really caught that bottom.
Let me see.
I just didn't put it at the bottom. That's all.
I wish I would have held that bottom. I did sell or most of them. No, I still have a September call. I got rid of my rest on the ride up. So I had $43 calls. Unfortunately, sold at 43.
It's okay.
I had $50 calls that I did sell at 50. So I'm not regretting that because it kind of held there. But I've got
I think there's still room.
Yeah, and that's why I have 60 for September as well. I held that one. I just kind of bought a ladder, up and out, rather than having to roll them up and out later.
Oh yeah, I completely understand that.
I see your chart, bro.
You know, they're a,
Yeah, I got. Oh yeah, you got my chart up there real quick.
Yeah, I got it up there.
Yeah. Cool. So I mean, if we're gonna break it down hymns, we gotta start off with the big chart. The daily chart. I feel like this whole pullback, when you get pullbacks like this in the market on names like hymns, you know what I mean, Palantir and Hood, for example, you don't want to look at what happened on the hourly. You don't want to see what happened on the 30-minute. You want to see what happened on the daily. You want to see how strong this dump was and where exactly it found support, right? So using the Fibonacci method, right? I use the Fibonacci method. The 0.382 is a strong trend level for me. The 0.618, the 0.706, and the 0.79, all that is a golden pocket zone, right? So any bounce around these levels is considered a golden Fibonacci pickup zone. So usually institutional investors would be buying in at these areas, which is what we saw. When we dumped down here, we had a little bit of consolidation here. It seems like about 2 days, and then by the third day we broke out, and then on the fourth we completely broke out. If we take a closer look here on the 4-hour chart, this little formation was a double bottom formation here. We had a breakout. We probably are going to get a little retest here soon. Pull back to 46, 45 would be very healthy, and then I'm looking for a continuation to play out these divergences on the 4-hour to take us back above to at least that $60 level that we had before the dump. So I'm honestly bullish hymns, for the short term. Like if you look at the shorter time frames, the 1 hour kind of goes in part with my idea of us needing a little pullback just to get those RSIs back in line. But overall, not bad. I don't know. What do you think, Royalty Trades? I like hymns where it's at. I don't see too much more downside currently at this moment, but anything could happen with these charts.
As far as hymns, I was actually looking for hymns to probably.
He's muted, but without a technical analysis perspective, I'd say they're a disruptor in the market. So, they're going to be neutral to bullish probably.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And the chart definitely, you can see that. We had a little beautiful support resistance flip here. This previous area that we had, this little zone, is now turning into support. And now we're working on making those higher levels on hymns. Hymns isn't probably going to see $17 anymore or below $20 or $30 anymore like how we're used to. It's just my 2 cents here right now with what I see.
That's a nice picture that you got drawn up. I like it. I was actually looking for him to drop down back. Well, I'm not gonna say I was looking for it, but I was watching to see if it was gonna drop back down toward this $38 level. It's been.
I see that 0.706.
Yeah, it's been consolidating pretty solid here at the 43. I did like that 43 level as a starter position. The only reason why I'm just kind of, not just solid on it is because of this huge gap down that we see on the chart from the 63.85 level all the way down to the 48.45. So even though we could see some prices push up, it's a lot of selling pressure back from that $63, $64 range that is going to have to fight with. We're going to need to see some type of gap up. For me, honestly, we're going to need to see some type of gap up anywhere within this gap down level. Yeah, it's going to kind of create a pinch and price action movement because it's going to be a battle between bulls and bears to see which one wins. But at least if it gaps up within this price level, then you know that there's some buying interest at these levels. So worst case scenario, it consolidates within this big range between 63, 85, and 48. If it drags itself back down or retests lows at 40, I look at it's just a buying opportunity. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I'd say it's a great candidate for cash secured puts if you're wanting to get in at a lower price.
Okay, that's smart. Definitely smart. So
Collect premium along the way.
Hymns, Palantir. Man, I was looking at something. I guess it was from Eta, from the Discord. BSX.
Was it that $2 stock? I think you were charting it a little bit.
Nah, I think it was Boston Scientific, I believe. And
Yeah, definitely tune me in, bro.
look at this chart on the daily.
Let's see. What's the ticker?
It's BSX.
Ooh.
What do they do?
Let me see. All right, there you go. I got it. My bad. I still had it on the other screen, but like if you look at the screen on the Discord, I got the chart pulled
Yeah,
up,
I can see it.
and bro, like the buying pressure is crazy from like 95 to 98, and then it looked like it's approaching the neckline here,
It is.
above 107.17. So, I mean, if it breaks out and goes above that, I mean, my next resistance level where it just bumps heads is around like 120. I'm not sure how the options trade here, but I mean, you just look at this stock from a long-term perspective. I mean, it's been in
a move, bro.
It's been in an uptrend since 2023.
Damn.
Yeah.
It has. It definitely has.
So, I mean, 2023 was a $45 stock, $48 stock. Right now, it's $106. So,
They just want tired.
man, and
Wish I could see the future.
Bro, I wish I could, but hey, that's why you got to know what you invest in. Like we were saying, buy stocks. Is the stream gonna be posted yet? I mean, it's live, so it's definitely gonna be posted, recorded. You have access to go back to the beginning and watch, so it'll be there. There's a critical shortage of sonar buoys and other companies other than LHX putting out components. I guess LHX, is that a ticker or like a medical company or I'm not sure what that is.
Never heard of it.
LHX.
Aerospace.
Yeah, electronic technology, aerospace, and defense. I mean,
Oh, that chart, man.
it doesn't look too bad. Big consolidation zone for the most part.
Huge consolidation. It's been consolidating for a while. If you look, you gotta go all the way to the monthly for real.
Yeah, it's got a range.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just break it down. It's just, yeah.
It has been in an uptrend ever since, though. It has been chopping up for this long. I mean, ultimately, that's not bad. You want to see a stock chop up like this. Like, if we go back, compare this stock, the way it looks to the one that we saw previously with the inverse head and shoulder. I mean, it's not the same exact pattern, but it's the same idea of consolidation for looking for higher highs. And, it all comes down to the news, retail. Are they buying? Are they selling? What's really going on here?
I'm finna scroll through my. You go ahead and talk about it. I'm finna scroll. I got a library of random stocks here that I just like to just scroll through. One thing I definitely, if y'all do like the credit spreads, I know there's probably something that you guys would definitely be interested in. If you're not already into it, is Webull.
Mm-hmm.
So the price action just is been constantly holding at this $10 mark, and I've been telling people, buy below 1030, and lately every time it gets to around like 1023, 1025, it decides to bounce back up and go back above towards this $11 mark. So,
I got like a whole couple shares of that.
I was gonna say lows is around like 955. If it breaks lows, then I think we could possibly see a further move down. But I have this little downtrend here, but it's been constantly moving. So.
Do you think the hourly chart could be trying to form a double bottom by any chance, McWill? What you think is going on there?
The 1 hour
with the hook consolidation. Yeah, it's very interesting to see where it found support. I'm kind of comparing it to the last time it came around here. I mean, it all depends on how we move on.
So
not a bad idea.
So if I had to trade this or get an entry to it, I would draw this this range right here.
Mm-hmm.
I would look at this range right here as a dip buying opportunity. So anytime it comes below here and it gets down to like 1035, 1045, anytime it drops within this white box here, I would look as a buying opportunity to get bought back up and retest this support level right here. So that's where this little arc comes into play.
Because it looks like it's trying to flip. It's trying to flip supply now with resistance we had from the beginning of June.
So look how on the 1 hour we constantly we watch the price action gap down constantly till it just flooded the price all the way down here to this $10 mark. So right now we're probably watching it rotate back up to the upside to retest this gap down here at 1045, 1050, and it's eventually going to work its way back up to $14. I don't have no doubt about that. It's going to work its way back up to $14. So like I said, anything below this 1050 at the moment, $10.50 or anywhere in this white box, I think is a buying opportunity until it actually breaks like the IPO lows, and that's below $9.55.
Okay, no, I fuck with that.
Other than that, it's super sideways right now. Yeah,
it looks like it.
Other than
I opened a synthetic stock position on it earlier this week. So
on bull.
We'll be watching $11.16. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said what happened?
Yeah, I just I've seen what we've been talking about, and plus, you talking to me or trying to.
I heard somebody say something, but I guess I missed out on the ticker of which one y'all was talking about.
I was talking about bull. I don't know about trying.
Yeah, bull. I was talking about bull. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was just saying I opened a synthetic stock position on it earlier this week. That's all.
So what exactly is that though?
So you buy a 50 delta call and you sell a 50 delta put at the same time, and you receive a credit to do so. Hopefully.
Bro, there's so many ways to eat out here.
Yeah, so with that, you have 100 delta, so you're basically owning shares, and of course you have to hold the collateral for the put depending on your broker, but you're getting paid to get in $100 or 100 delta with the shares, basically owning 100 shares.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I mean, the downside's not great, but unless you're happy to own bull, of course. But I thought it was a good way to kind of just get in and see what happens with them.
But I mean, honestly, I think bull is at a fairly decent price to own right now.
Yeah, I think
of course,
so.
Nothing wrong with just buying them.
Yeah. So I mean,
and holding's always great.
I might jumping in real quick.
Go ahead.
And it's a gross oversimplification, but when I was talking about Alti earlier and their strategy change, what he was just that kind of static position. That is what Alti used to do.
Okay.
Oh, really?
It's basically a delta zero position using calls and puts like that in order to own fake shares that they could sell covered calls against. And now they have gone to owning straight shares. Again, it's an overgrown simplification, so please don't hold me to all of that. But
okay. All right. I wish Fridge was here. He made Fridge and I think Cube Master. I don't know if
Yeah,
Q's
they
still
both did
here or
something.
not, but they both went crazy on Nike. And I didn't really understand what all Fridge did, but he made like a kill. I think he went like a grand. Made like a grand off of
Yep.
off Nike.
Yep. He did a. I'm not too familiar with it. He's the one that found it. Double calendar spread. It's kind of a good earnings trade, I guess. So he did that, and that's what he made money on.
Bro, that's crazy.
Do you want me to explain it?
Go ahead.
If you know more, Michael, go ahead. I don't feel confident enough in my ability here.
Yeah. So what you do, it's you essentially you're buying. It's 4 options. You're buying 2, selling 2, and you sell the closer ones and buy the further out ones. So what you're doing is, for the closer ones, right around earnings, you're capturing the theta fast, but also the extra IV, the Vega, that is built into the earnings call itself. And as soon as both of those were in a decent enough profit, he closed those out. So those were ahead of time that he had closed those out. And pretty much when you do that, you're almost always closing it out for a profit, especially around earnings. You're just collecting theta, but it's not a ton of money. But yeah, so it's that, and then he buys the ones that are further out at the same strike prices, and I think he bought them at the same time. So
Okay.
it's essentially what happens then is the puts expire worthless. It'd be just like if you had bought what the hell. See, I did this for a living, and I don't know the terms. I just did it. But yeah, whatever buying one and selling one put is, when you don't know which direction it's going to go, but it's going to swing. One expires worthless, which is what happened to his put, and then obviously he makes the money on the calls. So.
I think that was a pretty dope play that he pulled off. Nike is trying to hold right now
Yes.
at this $72 range. Honestly, I think that we might see a little chop here just because it was such a big move up for Nike. But if it can push up a little bit higher, we can see Nike push back up towards 75. It's a little chop zone here, but it'll be approaching like another big channel that it previously came out of. So, I mean, we was previously watching it trade, in between these kind of, and actually how this played out right here, we can see Nike kind of always makes that little move, that little lower low move before it finally makes another move up. So we saw a bigger one here. We saw a smaller one here before it broke out. You just want to watch and see how it holds the $72 level for the upcoming days and weeks, and see if it can actually make a higher move, or it's going to slowly get faded back down to the 65 and the $62 level to fill that gap back down to the downside. So that's definitely something that you want to watch for if you are.
So what do you think about what I feel is their undervalued brother in Crocs leading up to their earnings?
I think Crocs is a solid company too. Last time that I checked.
What I just think is the gap between 102 and 112, not the gap, but they have a nice resist. But
On
I think
Crocs?
it's going to cruise to there prior to earnings.
You was talking about Crocs.
Yep, just the next $10 or so prior to earnings, I think it was just.
As I wear my Crocs right now, it does have a nice
And
gap.
on me.
So, all right, so Crocs kind of had that same type of
Hey, promo. Shit.
right. That it kind of still had that same type of descending, like lower lows before it popped out, and I haven't really got it charted detailedly, but I mean, for the most part, we can make it out.
I love you looking at yours, so this is cool.
So we saw that actually, they got faded for what, from 625 and made lower lows all the way up into 623. Here it goes, it pops, and right now we have a nice little uptrend that's making its way up. So first thing that I watch for is to see if we have any type of negative gaps that could be affecting the price action on its way back up. So right now, I don't see much. This is the 1 hour. If I go to the daily chart, just to get a better picture, we have a trend here. Nice little uptrend here. And I'm not really gonna count that 1 hour trend that I just lined out as a trend yet, because it's too early to really consider what is that? It's too early to consider a trend just right now. So the good thing so far is that Friday it closed bullish. Here's the opening price at 101.89. Here's the closing price here at 103. So it's solid.
It's been my secret weapon. Every time it dips under 100,
You've been catching
it comes back and closes at 100 every time.
So that's a little resistance right here from this candle to this candle. We might watch it, see here. We want to watch for the breakout. Any type of candle patterns that I might like. Let's go to the weekly. All right, so boom, there we go. So right here, we got a bearish engulfing candle. So pretty much, if I take this top off, I'll still keep this, but I would want to see prices break above this.
Oh, yep. Beautiful. Thank you.
If my clicker works. All right. So
Michael, I'm shorting the cues right now, bro. Cautiously. I just want to throw that out there.
be careful. But
I got
It's a nice little short.
I got out a minute back, or a while back actually.
Yeah, I just want to let you know I'm bearish as fuck.
as far as Crocs, I watched this bearish engulfing candle here prior to 6/2 on the weekly. Okay, so on the weekly chart, this bearish engulfing candle here prior to this week's closing, it opened higher and it got wicked at this 107. The selling pressure kicked in and it broke the lows right there, right around here. So it traded below that 4 week. It held that price for about the next week, and then it broke back below that price and traded back up. So it's pretty much some consolidation here between the 98.53, 107.13 levels. I'm still neutral. I'm not gonna say bearish or bullish. I'm still neutral within this zone until we take out these highs to invalidate this 2 candle pattern right here.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, I just thought after what had just happened at Nike, a lot of pump up before the earnings.
So that's what I would watch. And then if I was to use Fibonacci's,
thank you.
I normally draw my Fibonacci's like this. I don't keep all of them on there, but this would just give me, like, you know, a visual price range of what I'm looking at. It's approaching above the 50% Fibonacci, and it's approaching the 0.236. So right here in between these two fib areas, for me, we gonna see prices start rejecting or squeezing, trying to attempt to flip and do like a supply and demand flip right up in here between 104.65 and 107. So if we can get above this and invalidate that pattern, then this will be the area that you'll want to see, you know, some buyers.
So you just gave me my credit spread targets then at 107 and 104.50.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
But, if it can break out above here, then we'll see price start to roll back to the upside, and from there it can continue to build. And you know, here's a lot of buyers right here. This candle right here has a lot of buyers. If we look at the 3-month candle, let's take out some of these lines, clean it up a little bit. It's been having a couple of bad quarters. So from July of last year, it's just been kind of having rough quarters. I don't know what it really needs. It could just be the retail sector. What they need, man.
It is retail sector too, but hey, dude. That was their mistake, but they've got a forward PE of 8. That's why I don't care. And in this market, you know, is what you guys are talking about. If I'm going to gamble anywhere, it's on stuff that I feel comfortable holding right now. So.
And I mean, look at how. Let me take some of these lines out. But look at how the price action is starting to shrink.
Yep.
Like you seen this big increase up, you seen the big swing down, and from here to here, everything between these two price targets, price action has been shrinking. So there's your high, there's your low, here's everything in between. We're just kind of seeing everything consolidate and tighten. So we saw a swing low, swing high, swing low. You might see a swing high here.
That's what I'm hoping for.
And then price action should tighten. So that'll be what I watch for on Crocs on a bigger scale.
Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Hell yeah, man. I love this right now. Oh, man.
appreciate that. Anybody else got anything you want to look at? Little bro, you got anything? Michael, anybody got anything they want to check out?
I mean, honestly, I feel like I touched up on the stocks that I want. Actually, hold on. I do got one. Real quick, though, big bro. I just wanted to give you your props, bro, because you opening my mind up on stocks that I never even really thought about looking at, like Crocs. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
That shit's fire, bro. I love
Appreciate
that.
And that's actually Michael. Like that was something he's interested in. I knew about Crocs in the past, because I think Skechers got a pretty
And
good.
stuff like that. It just, I look at my kids' school, like I'm one of those, like school, and 75%, and I have the Crocs on, like you said. You know, it's just like Celsius a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, I was drinking them like crazy. I see them everywhere, and yeah, of course revenue is going to be through the roof. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't give a shit about. Hey, dude, you know, that stuff gets figured out. You know, same with Celsius, and like there was the thing about Pepsi at the time.
Yeah.
And that's why their price was beat down to hell. Like, was it 16, 17 bucks prior to that earnings call that shot it up to 30? Yeah, that's just the kind of stuff that you don't have to overthink it. It's not, I mean, yes, the numbers are right here. Like I said, the 4P of 8, stuff like that. It's just some of those no-brainers that, you know, what you just said, trying to, you never think about that you're wearing or you're buying every day. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
yeah, that one came from my kid's school. That's all it is. Because no parents want to teach their kids how to, and I'm one of them. It's a hell of a lot easier to throw Crocs on a kid than teach him how to tie her shoes. And I don't feel that bad about it anymore because none of his classmates know how either.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boeing. Okay.
Yes, big old Boeing. I want to hear what the big dogs got to say about Boeing. That's you and Michael. And I want to know exactly what you guys think. Perunga, Carly, what you guys think about BA? All of you guys, for real. I've been looking at BA for a while. I know a lot of people here are from After Hour. You know, WTF has been shouting this stock out with his millions and millions of dollars. But besides that fact, I've honestly just been keeping an eye on this stock. You know, Royalty Trace could vouch for me. I've been looking at this stock since last year,
Yeah, you've been trading
2024.
that since I met you.
Yo, I swear to God, I don't know what it is with me and this fucking planes company, bro, but I fuck with it. It's nice. All right, so I want to start off with the macro look at this of this whole picture here. We got the monthly chart up. This whole entire formation that I've had here, it's held, which is the most significant thing for me, right? Ever since I identified this triple bottom on BA, it was around, I think I identified the bottom literally around October. I already had these 3 bottoms already out, and I was just waiting on this pump back up, which eventually with time we ended up getting. BA broke above 210, right? And then we were kind of shifting sentiment there on the shorter time frames. If you check the weekly chart, we had a whole little double bottom here off that 139 zone, which ultimately propelled us past 200 and taking us to that 210 zone, breaking slightly above to 214 here. So I love the whole formation and structure that we have going on here. It sucks to say that the stock moves on news. So every time there's a significant dip on it, I tend to realize that that's when it kind of like, you know, moves in a good significant way. But then there's days where you just wake up and then BA is up 4 or 5%, and then it'd be down 2-3%. But the TA here is very strong. I see the double bottom formation on the higher time frame. Sorry, the triple bottom formation I had here. Already coming up to make that next leg to complete that bottom. So for now, I have a target of a slight pullback down to possibly 200, make that psychological zone support, and then from there we're going to start treading higher towards 230s, 240s, and I ultimately have an end of year target of probably around 268. With the way this has been moving, right, in the past couple months, end of year target of 268 is a little bit aggressive, but conservative, especially with the way the stock moves. But all it needs is that support of that $200 psychological zone. And if you look at the daily chart here, we're already filling gaps, right? Breaking out of these little areas right here. And support is everything now at this point. But the cult is very much alive, and this stock is too big to fail. I can see it going back to those pre-COVID levels.
I have a macro view on this, and it's much like Apple. In America, we pretty much have two cell phones, Samsung and Apple. In about the whole planet Earth, we have two airlines, Airbus and Boeing. Boeing never fail. It never. So I would always be bullish. And then the other thing is, poor Boeing's social media has killed Boeing, because all this little shit that we see on the news now, the little this flap didn't go down or this flap didn't go up, that's been happening for the time of airplanes. But now people are walking around with their phones and happening to catch it on film. But it's a superior product. You only get to choose between that and a foreign one. So Boeing always going to be fine, and it's always going to do well. That's the macro.
I love that. No, I 100% agree. I do appreciate that. It really heightens my conviction too. I see that beautiful gap in between 233 and 242. That's my first eye of sight once we make 200 ground support. But yeah, no, Boeing's good for the long run. Yeah.
I just want to say I see Fridge Financial snuck into the building. What's up, Fridge?
Nice.
Yeah. What's up, dude? How you doing? How you guys doing? Sorry, a little bit behind schedule today.
Hey, Fridge, you're all good, man. You made it. That's all that matters. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Dude, I just got home. I took my freaking temperature. I'm at 101 fever right now.
Oh, man.
It's like, oh, this is about to be a fun time.
Definitely takes some bro. Medicine, rest.
Yeah, but dude, the king doesn't sleep. You know that. I'm gonna get up tomorrow morning, make another video. I always do. So I'm not gonna stop because of a little sickness, you know.
Facts.
Gotta love this guy, man.
Michael, you got anything on BA?
I really wish I bought it at 140. No, I'm with you, Trent. Like, I'm looking at it too. Like, I mean, yeah, if it pulls back to 200, all in. I don't think it's going below that again. I said I would. But yeah, 260. Is that what you said your goal was?
Yeah, that's what I got.
It needs to rip through 218 first. I think with some volume. Where was that gap in? That's all the way back in January of last year when it touched 218, right?
Yeah.
That it just touched again the other day. So this will be time number 3, right? How many times is 4 times?
Yeah, by the 4th time, you're already breaking that door down.
So I think you're right. I mean, if it keeps this rise up here, I mean, it touches 218-ish, 217 high-ish, and then goes back down to 220, that'll be the last time.
I'm going to keep my close eye on that one. Yeah, Michael, of course. We're going to see if we can snipe this one.
Yeah, and the pullback might not come. I mean, this is...
That's the funny part.
We're going all the way back to January of last year, so we're going back, 8 months to see the last time it touched 218, but still, stocks don't tap it that many times without... They just don't.
Taking off.
It's 100%.
I mean, last time, what did it rise to? Last time it ripped through it, though, 240 and then 260, right?
Yeah, it went crazy, bro. It's crazy because when I first called it out, I was like, all right, everybody get an BA. It might come down to fill this gap. That could be the entry. Never came down to fill this gap. When was it? It was, actually, hold on, over here. On this level, we came back up, but we never filled that gap, and we just kept running up. But BA, oh man, definitely. When it runs. You got to catch it,
Yeah, it moves.
I mean, as far as the rest of it, yeah, I'm with Carly. There's been Boeing. It's absolutely everybody knows about it now, but I mean, we know about more car accidents now too.
Yeah.
I'm looking
I
at
was
the
gonna
chart
say-
right now for. Oh, go
I
ahead.
know what socks you wear now will have a lot more. I'm done.
If car companies, or I should say, if the news were to report every single car accident that there is, nobody, for one, would ever drive a car again, but they sure as hell wouldn't buy car stocks. It's just unfortunate. It happens so infrequently with airplanes that it's huge news.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean,
Okay. I'm looking at Boeing right now. I see what you mean about this 260. I got a target right now. Like, I'm gonna give it 252 right now. That'll be my target for
I
it.
like that.
The reason why we see a lot of consolidation, previous consolidation, like right in this area right here.
Check out the 1 hour.
So we got a lot of movement back here in 2023. We're approaching those levels again. You know, last time we touched this level, which was in early 2024, you know, it briefly held in here before selling off, and it looks like that was the discount level. Below 200 was, you know, the prices that you load back up for it to retest back up here toward like this 252 level. So like I said, we're back in this channel right here. We're back in the 2023, early 2024 channel. It is trying to build above supply. Target right now is going to be like 221 for me. Going into this following week, if we can continue to see an uptrend, nice little bottom here around 197. It tapped 197. Let me see. From 613 all the way to 623, so about 10 days it sat there and it hung out around like 197.18 before it taking back off to the upside. So you said
So let's pretend that's the beginning of a cup right there. How far would a handle actually come down?
I have to go look at the percentage.
Because if you look at the 1 hour there, I mean, it is a bowl you can drink out of, man.
Oh yeah, it's sitting. Well, there go that 197. So yeah, so it's been loving this 197.91, 198 level, and it is entering into that this little channel again, back up to 224. We're gonna see. The only thing is,
I like this.
it needs some buyers somewhere up here. Somewhere up here it needs buyers. I don't like it trading straight up into supply like that. Just because we see previously what happens, but like right here, it lulled itself to sleep until it spiked up and traded up here before finally exhausting. No new buyers stepped in. It just traded probably strictly off of news or whatnot. But it exhausted after what? Let's see, 528 to 69. So about what, 2 weeks? It finally exhausted and gapped itself back out of that channel, and here it is making another attempt. So we could continue to see it run, but if I don't see no buyers, then I can't confidently say hold it here, because it could roll itself back over once it gets back somewhere back up here towards these highs. We could see it test these and then come back down if nothing new steps in, and it comes back down and fill this gap right here. And that's around like 200, 203 to 205. So the only thing that really gives me confidence on BA right now above this supply level, above 212, is another gap up, just to show me that it has some interest stepping in at these higher prices. So I like it. I like the
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I like the trend. I just need to see
I like
more.
watching this. This was awesome. Thank you.
Charles
What a
showed
good
in the
chart to
cruises
do it on,
one
too.
time, bro. Ooh.
Yeah. So that's my take on it. It loves 198. We're trading above supply. It's a possibility for it to shoot up to 225, but if nothing new steps in, we don't see another gap or something up in here. I think it'll come back down and retest this 208 to 209 level. This is where I want to see support.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, support set up right here. All right, support the setup here and continue to make its way up. But if not, it'll fill this gap, retest this 198, and then try it again. You know, so let's see what happens. Cool. Fridge, what's up, man? Like, I don't want to ice you out the channel. I know you probably burning up.
No, I got a whole bottle of water, dude. I'm good. I'm just chugging it right now, trying to keep myself hydrated. No big deal.
Well, hey, man, we was talking about your Nike trade earlier today.
Yeah.
Man, how you feel about it?
Dude, that trade actually worked out so nicely. You know, I mean, it's a very advanced strategy. Like, because it's like a double calendar, even a calendar spread by even a calendar is already a advanced strategy. Then you're putting in two of them. I don't know if you saw in the trading chat. I've been trying to explain it and made videos about it. I was watching the chart after hours, dude, and it was doing absolutely nothing. And I was like, well, I just lost like $200 or whatever my loss would have been. And then the conference call comes up, and I see this huge green candle. I'm like, dude, I'm banking tomorrow morning. Like, it was wild. I was doing a training at my school at like 10 in the morning, and they were like, all right, we need a break. I log in my Robinhood and I closed the position so quick because I needed to get off my phone. But yeah, dude, it was I'm trying it out again with Delta. I have other stocks that have earnings coming up. I'm trying to see, like, there's specifics that I want to look for that kind of strategy, where it's like earnings need to be like on a Thursday or Friday where it's closer to expiration, because I don't think it's going to do as well if earnings are like a Monday or Tuesday, because there's still time that's behind the options. But yeah, dude, it was great. I want to see what Delta does next, and I would be hyped if I found a nice strategy for me. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% win, but Nike, dude, I thought about it. I was like, I'm going to go out and like just buy a pair of Nike shoes now just because of that with the profits, but I didn't do it. They don't fit my feet.
We talked briefly on.
But yeah, so it was great weekend. I was super hyped for it. Hopefully we're back in tomorrow, you know.
We talked briefly on a few economic activities that we got next week, couple red folder activities that we might have. Is it anything that you see in particular?
I mean, I posted a thing like a little while ago in Discord, and also on After Hours, and probably everywhere you could think of. It's just the labor market is softening so much, and you listen to what the Fed is talking about, and people that are like part of it and stuff like that. And they're just like, dude, we should try to get ahead of the cuts instead of behind the cuts. It's just the labor market isn't showing any signs of reversing at all. We have more labor data coming out this week. We have a JOLTS report coming out, I believe on Tuesday, which will be something to watch out for. We have non-farm unemployment changes. We've got continuing jobless claims, initial jobless claims on Thursday. Like, just so much job data, and the more data that we get with the labor market softening, like, this is what Jerome Powell said, like, is what was bolstering the economy up for the longest time. We had inflation kind of kicking around still. We had slow growth in GDP and all that kind of stuff. And then he keeps saying, oh, well, labor market's good. Labor market's strong. We're doing great. And this is the last line of defense. And I wouldn't be surprised if they cut in July. I know it's a very, very, very low probability. It's like 20% chance of a rate cut. But people are starting to tell him, like, dude, like, we gotta get ahead of this thing. There was a article I saw where some guy went back to like the 2001, I think, .com bubble crash, and they were cutting rates way ahead of the .com bubble crash, trying to get ahead of it. So people were talking about how that could be another thing that could be coming into play here. It's just, I don't see anything. We look at the Fed data and their summary of economic projections, and it comes out as like higher inflationary values in the future for PCE data. You have a lower GDP estimate than before for 2025, and GDP is basically what banks on the economy to grow. And it's coming in, they're already now predicting to be like 0.3% lower than March. So you have a slowing economy, you have inflation staying around and a potential to have it push a little bit higher because of tariffs. The labor market is starting to soften. It's just lining up for a stagflationary period. And if Powell doesn't get ahead of it, it's going to be too late. And, I think he's one of those people who, if he sees it, instead of cutting like once, he's going to cut like three. He's going to be like a 0.75 point cut in the rates, I feel like. Because he's going to wait until, oh crap, things are turning over. Now we're in trouble. Then he's going to cut it like 0.5 to 0.75 rate cut. And the other feds, like Fed Waller, is like, dude, cut in July, see what the market reacts to it, see what the data does. Because at the end of the day, you can always pause rates again. You can cut in July, see what happens in August, see what happens in September, cut again if you want to, or try to see it. But some Fed members want him to cut in July to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and just see what happens. It's a very he's like just in an awful situation. And the thing is that sucks is that since he's the Fed chair, he gets all the publicity, all the cameras on him, even though it's not just him making the decision. It's everybody in the federal government that's making this call for rates. And he's just in the line of fire, so to speak. So so we're walking a tough line right now, I feel like.
Interesting.
I wanted to say that Trump was on a news program this morning and said that he right now is not planning on extending the July 9th deadline, that if there is not a deal made with the country, he's just going to send them a letter and say, this is how much it's going to cost to shop in the USA, good luck. And I think the market's going to like that. We don't want that can to keep getting kicked down the road and kicked down the road, because then it leaves us in this limbo, and something has to be set. Either just set it or say, oh, it's going to take us a year to work out a deal, so we're just going to kind of go on, business as usual. So if he sticks to that, where July 9th is it, the market's going to like that. And then I would back up Fridge, because then that shows the Fed now that we have a policy. He made taco about it, but there's a policy, and now you can kind of really start to look at all the facts and make a decision.
One of those things where it's like people are just getting pissed off about, like, can you just make a decision, like rip the Band-Aid off, and either put it in place, put it not in place, like nobody cares, but do something. Because if we're in this point of uncertainty, the market's going to just keep kind of doing whatever, and there's not going to be a clear direction until he does something. And I think the more and more, and if he kicks the can down the road again, like at this point, I'm sitting here just like, dude, do something. Jerome Powell, cut rates, whatever. Like, do something to see how the market's going to react to it. But if you just keep pushing it down the road, it's going to create a more stagflationary period, which is bad for our economy. So I don't understand why we're not doing this.
Yep. So we'll see.
Yeah. And I think the thing that sucks also is that, like, we looked at, I think somebody put it in Discord last week about GDP came in lower for projections. It was like 0.5 in the negatives or something like that, instead of 0.2 in the negative. And the Atlanta Fed has their inflation, or has their GDP coming out on Thursday. And if you take a look at the historical ones for Q2 so far, it's starting to trend back down again. And there was a video I made about it where you're going to get this huge seesaw effect where GDP is going to be a really low number Q1 because everybody's buying up inventory. Your import is what brings down your GDP. But now that everybody front-loaded it, nobody's going to be buying stuff. Your exports is going to be higher than imports.
Yeah.
But we need a huge GDP number to even try to somewhat counteract Q1. And if the Fed keeps revising it lower, that's already not a good indication, because you need a huge number for GDP Q2 to even say, okay, now it offsets. Now what happens Q3 and Q4? And if we don't get a big enough beat on like our GDP, that's going to be a problem also.
Well, and for our economy, I think all of us as consumers, and I'd like to hear from you guys, are kind of sitting in a standstill also, because we don't know if inflation's going to hit. We don't know, if all of a sudden our prices are going to start going up. So we're all kind of waiting to see, what our our spending habits are going to be. So people are sitting on a shit ton of inventory that may sit there for a while because consumers are not wanting to spend money. And that then starts to hit earnings, and that's when the problems start.
Do any of you guys have the at-home stores, like in your city or whatnot?
I saw one, but I think it went out of business.
Like my wife,
I think they're bankrupt, aren't they?
Yeah, my wife brought that to me. She was telling me that they supposed to be closing, I think, so many stores around the country because they're filing bankruptcy. So, I mean, just to capitalize on what you guys saying about, retail not really spending money. Like, it's true. Some of the stores, they just after COVID, they just haven't held up really well because I think we got here in Shreveport, Louisiana, we got our at-home store, which we only have one. We got that store probably right before COVID, and then after COVID, it just was
nothing
different.
It
never was the same.
And somebody else, I'm so bad with names on Discord right now. Somebody made a very good point. I wrote a whole thing about the job market and the beverage curve, which, believe it or not, the beverage curve is actually a really cool thing to read about because it tracks all of historical data between unemployment versus job openings, which refers back to JOLTS reports a lot. And someone made a really good point. I forgot who the name of the guy was. So if you're watching this back, I'm shout out to whoever it is. He made a good point because he goes, think about what the companies are doing. They're not hiring because they don't know what to do. They're like, do we hire? Do we fire? Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. Like they're kind of like this standstill. Like imagine just floating on you're just on an island, just waiting to see what's going on, and you have no idea what to do. Do you hire more people? Do you cut people off in terms of recessionary fears? Like what do you do? And I think now a lot of companies are getting fed up with it, and they've seen a lot more people getting laid off. There's a lot of people getting laid off now.
Which I hate to say, but that may be a good thing because that may be what we need something to happen. Because if we go the bad route, we have mechanisms that kick into place to bump us back up. We start seeing rate changes. We start seeing, unemployment benefits start to kick in. We see the government, start to flood funds in to help people get back to work. We have mechanisms to fix that. If things get too good, we have mechanisms to pull back. But stagflation, just sitting there where nobody's doing anything, there's nothing to trigger a mechanism, and it is. It's the worst that can happen for the market. It's the worst that can happen for an economy.
And I think the thing also that's really frustrating is that Jerome Powell is basically, a lot of times he kind of uses words back to basically the 1970s, where if you look back at the data in the 1970s, they had a bunch of rate changes. It was rate hikes, then rate cuts, then rate hikes, then rate cuts. Because the Fed at the moment in time, the Fed was so heavily influenced by politicians, by the consumer, and people lost all the credibility in the Fed because they were just cutting it left, right, and center. Then what you'll see happen is in 1980, you'll see the new Fed chair, Paul Volcker, come in, and he jacked rates up like 20% or whatever it was to cool it down. And I think Jerome Powell is trying to walk the line of not being heavily persuaded by Donald Trump, by his administration, by the federal government, by the consumers, by everybody on Wall Street. He's trying to keep all that noise out because if the Fed loses credibility, that's going to see things really start to hit the fan, I think, overall.
Well, and the scary thing is the next person who comes in is going to be heavily driven by Trump. Trump will make sure he puts somebody in there that they meet once a week probably, and Trump's going to drive the moves, and that's not a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep it, again, try to keep it apolitical, but Trump has some, maybe some other ideas of what he's trying to do,
Yeah, it's Jerome Powell is just in the worst spot. I feel like he's just and he's the one who's stuck. And he's the one who's stuck doing it all because he's the Fed chair, so he's the one testifying in Congress. So I believe he's also he's talking this week. I think on Tuesday for some reason. I don't know why, but he is. at so mark on the calendar 9:30. Oh, right when market opens, Fed Chair Powell is talking about who knows what.
And Jolts is on Wednesday.
Jolts is also Tuesday, a half hour after he starts speaking.
Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah, I think he just keeps, but the thing is, though, it was interesting is that he seems like he's almost starting to turn over, because in his last testifying with Congress, he was sitting there and he was like, we keep looking at the data, but he didn't push away, like when they're like, hey, rate cut in July, and he wasn't just like, no, absolutely not. He was like, well, we got to kind of see what the data is going to show us. And I was like, that's not a no. So that's why I was like, maybe you get a surprise cut in July. I don't know, but I think he's starting to see the impacts as a result of it. And at least now with the Middle East conflict subsided, it gives him a little bit of a better direction, because with that going on the play, that could have been even worse in terms of the economy. And now it's a little bit subsided. But yeah, I don't know. Jolts will be fun to watch. Fed Chair, seeing what he's going to be talking about. I have no idea what it's even about, honestly. We have also more data coming out for jobs Wednesday and Thursday, so don't be surprised if you see any sort of market reaction after that. But it's a thing where if he goes back to the beverage curve, something has to give. Because Swing says, hardly political when it's important, 100%. With the beverage curve, you ever take a look at it and you see how it works? The beverage curve basically focuses on saying, if you have high unemployment, you should have low job opening. If you have low unemployment, you should have high job opening. It's usually what happens in the beverage curve. It's a negative correlation. You look it up online. The point that we're at right now is not only do we have low unemployment, we also have low job openings, and that's the problem. And we have to normalize it somehow. The way that you normalize that curve is either you create more jobs, which isn't going to happen because of AI. I feel like AI just is taking jobs all over the place already, or you push unemployment higher. What's more likely to happen is unemployment's going to go higher, and that's what we're starting to see with these rate cuts here. So it's starting to normalize the curve, but that's going to trigger potentially Jerome Powell and the Fed to react. It's very interesting to think about, because that's what he refers to a lot without saying it. But yeah, it's the economy. The more and more you read into economics and the economy, it's the more and more you see like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And it does give you a very, very good picture overall, I will say, as I've done it for a while now.
What's interesting for me is,
go ahead.
I've watched it for so long because I've got quite a few years under my belt. But Trump 2.0, I mean, I feel like I'm living in a different world, So it's hard for me to look at historical data and historical events and kind of go with what the trends always were, because yikes, who knows what it's going to do.
Well, so what I was going to jump in there is that I would just get a semi piece about that. I haven't been working, and I did look for about 2 months, between January and March, and the part that you mentioned was absolutely right. There are applicants out there, and most of them I think were probably young, because I would be on LinkedIn and like within an hour of it posting, I'd be the 100th applicant, and 50% of them have master's degrees. I'm like, sweet. So I'm dealing with the entire crowd that just graduated in December, and but it got to a point where I stopped looking. But yeah, there aren't that many jobs out there. And your point with AI, it's going to be the people who learn to use AI the best.
I saw that this new graduating class is going to be, there's the least amount of jobs available to them from any other class. Back to, I think they said COVID.
Yeah, I saw that too. Which also, again, it's fighting. You're fighting out here for it. And then there's other articles talking about, even if we hit this like high unemployment recessionary, market, you're going to see they're saying that don't get your hopes up for the labor market to turn back around so quick, because of all the AI flooding in and all the jobs being taken by artificial intelligence.
Where are we going to go? I'm a tech guy that used to work in finance, and the last few days when I've been spitting out all these apps. How the hell do you think I've been doing it so fast and so well? Like I finally decided to embrace the madness, and I've been doing it. Bolt had a free weekend. They had 20 million free tokens this weekend, so I used the hell out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I mean, you have to argue with them a lot. You have to prompts, but it's a lot of prompts, compared to 10 hours of Python coding, and then having to feed that into interactive brokers or Jupyter Notebook, for analysis. Like us old school people used to have to do. You kids don't know how good you have it, but like it's never been more appropriate, I feel like, to say that. As far as this stuff goes, at least we do have some of the tools and the knowledge here that we can do something about it. But I'm scared as hell for everybody else because it's.
Yeah.
I didn't know how the labor reports were as good as they were because I had been experiencing exactly the opposite. I'm like, this can't be right. When they felt too positive for a while.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that also is Jerome Powell was actually asked about that. He was asked about artificial intelligence taking over jobs and how it's going to impact it. And he said his kind of rebuttal was more just like, well, it's going to take some jobs, but it's going to be useful because it's going to help create new jobs in spaces of the economy and stuff like that. But the thing,
and that's always the case, but
yeah. Well, the thing that I always worry about is that, like, as someone who works in a high school, right? Like, I have students who are 16, 17 years old, and I watch them abuse all AI software as they possibly can to not do any work. Like, that was my fear when it first came out. I went up to my teachers and I was like, have you guys seen this ChatGPT thing years ago? And they were just like, what are you talking about? I was like, watch, give me a topic that you teach in class. And I typed the whole thing. And I said, look, here's a 5-page summary in a matter of like 2 minutes. And they're like, oh my God. And my fear always was that if AI was rolled out in a way to show them how to properly use it and how to make it like better, then we would not be in a situation. But I feel like people are just like, quick fix AI, throw into ChatGPT, throw into this. I was watching a video. This girl was like, I asked ChatGPT for financial help, and it helped me give me some ideas and this and this. It's like they jump right into it instead of knowing how to use it to push themselves to the next level, and that's the problem I think we're facing.
I've taught in higher ed for a while, and I haven't done it in the last couple of years because, I mean, all they just learn how to prompt as opposed to learning the content. They just learn how to prompt a chatbot, and they're not learning shit. They're just pumping out prompts. And shoot, I don't know the first thing about prompting those things, but it's gonna be interesting, especially at the high school age, how much they really retain or learn.
Yeah. There's ways that I use it, and I'll be honest, I do use it. I'm sure you can tell by like thumbnails and stuff like that. I do use it for a lot of things. But the way that I've used a lot of it in my job itself is that, like, since I'm teaching a bunch of high school students, and I might be able to explain it in a way that makes sense to me. Like, I teach statistics. I might be able to teach it in a way that explains it to me, but then I have kids who are just like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, I'll go home and I'll be like, hey, can you simplify the wording as to what I'm trying to get across here to help make it make sense for students who are just learning it? And it's able to help me with wording things and making connections that help get material across to the learner. So there's ways you can use it to help boost your job and help boost your productivity, or there's ways to help it where people just do it to think for them, and we're leaning on that side more. So when the job market hits, higher unemployment, whenever that does, I wouldn't be shocked if it stays there for a little while and stays stagnant until maybe we stop using it because it's too reluctant on it. Maybe people start saying, hey, you can't use it, and people don't get jobs for it. I don't know. It's an interesting job market that we're in right now, I feel like.
Very.
Hey.
So I'm curious what you think then as a teacher. Like, I started playing the Notebook LM, Google's product, and like I know people use it to create a podcast and stuff, but man, I can dump in 250 different websites and PDFs and YouTubes, and it will summarize it in one paragraph or in 10 pages, and it's really useful in a way. Like, I still have to do the research. I still have to go and find the websites at least a little bit. I mean, you can put in the prompts, but I don't know. I almost feel like I would want to have a class on who can write the best prompt, or get the best report from GPT. Not just to actually use it in that way, because to you guys' point, like what I'm doing right now, it is useful in the real world, and does save a lot of time if used correctly. And restricting kids from that, it's like taking kids off of YouTube rather than showing them the correct things to watch. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, the way I've looked at it especially for because I've had students say are you worried about losing your job to AI? Because, I can just type in all your things you talk about and summarize in 5 minutes. And for me personally, with me now teaching now for over 6 years, from what I've experienced in the classroom is that it's really good for teaching content, but as teachers, we do a lot more outside of the classroom in terms of being unlicensed therapists, being that father figure, that mother figure for students who are struggling. And even though ChatGPT can teach all the content it wants to, a lot of students these days especially need that parental figure, parental guidance, need that person to have a shoulder to cry on. And that is something that ChatGPT and AI can do. No matter what they might say, we have these connections that we build with students, and that's what allows me to think that I'm not worried about my job only because it can't do that. And that's a huge part of teaching these days.
That's why I don't use it to pick stocks or anything financial, because bottom line, stock markets are still driven by human behavior, and AI will never be able to predict human behavior or fully understand human behavior.
Nor will those of us who have worked in an institution, because
no shit. And that's why
I knew that one day when institutions were in there, I'm like,
and that's why nobody
today, I knew it.
In all the time of the stock market, nobody's cracked the code of the stock market, because it's driven by human behavior, and it always will. And that's the good thing, is that AI has certainly provided incredible tools for the market, but it will never crack the code. So we continue.
I just want to
you're absolutely right. Like, that's how I've always found my best company. Him's the reason why I'm still going to believe. Their CEO, he's always been good. Netflix as a company, no matter what has always happened, they pivot. You're right. And people's what drive those too. Like I even say, analysts are lagging. Even sales and revenue sometimes are a lagging indicator. It is the people behind those that are the successful ones too, not just the other side. It's people. But yeah, you're right. I mean, as far as the stock prices go too, like I think Palantir will always be ridiculously overpriced. It just always will be. I don't know where that ends and how far it's going to crash, but it's not going to crash far enough to anything that makes human sense from a earnings perspective. It can't anymore. There's too much money in it. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead. I'll shut up.
I have one counter argument to the whole thing. One argument. I've been doing ChatGPT trading challenge for the last year, and it's up 20%. Just plugging it in there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I've also seen a person win their March Madness bracket by picking the best mascot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can throw monkeys can throw a dartboard at the stock market. And I'm not trying to rip on you, man. You know what I mean? Did you do it 10 times? Like, try it with Gemini and ChatGPT, and then another login with Chat. And I'm joking, but it's until it's been done 1,000 times, then call.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I just think it's kidding.
No, and I'd appreciate it.
That's just always my thing, where it's like, this is the most stupidest challenge I've ever done in my life, and I'm just like, dude, how am I up 20%? Just buying a bunch of random stocks I don't even know much about, and they're like, oh, yeah, this looks good. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll put $100 into it, and then a stock will go up 10%. I'm like, oh, cool, amazing, it's awesome. So. How nice is
it though? Like if somebody writes a book and you just want to throw it in there and say, "Can you summarize this in a paragraph for me?" It's beautiful.
Yep. And I've done it every week for now 7 months. So I'm looking at 20 something tries so far, 20 something data points. And as someone who does statistics, obviously 20 data points means absolutely nothing. I need 2,000, 20,000 data points to see. Okay, what does it actually do? But I always think it's really funny because I'm like, oh, okay, it's actually doing better than my actual portfolio for the week. How cool is that? It's up like 3%. Like, it's so stupid sometimes, but yeah, no, I do it for degenerate. I want to get the gambling rush with like $500. That's all I do it for. But it's fun time. I always enjoy it every single day I do it.
Man, Fred, you came in here and opened up a whole nother can of worms on.
Sorry, royalty, we took over.
It's fine. Hey, it's completely fine. I enjoyed it personally, and I know probably.
And I warned him that I can be that way. Shut me up.
Nah. Y'all perfectly fine. While y'all doing that, man, I was scrolling through charts, finding stuff that I found interesting. Somebody dropped T.
Even Palantirs, and I hate to say this, but even Palantir where it bottomed out the other day, if you draw a line from the bottom of May for where it bottomed out again 3 weeks ago and then to now, I mean, it's a nice rising bottom.
Yeah.
I was looking at the 4-hour chart, but it's not done rising.
Yeah, I tried shorting Palantir one time, and after that,
Yeah, me too. I regretted it, and I was wondering why after it like paid all my bills in 2024. Why am I doing this? And I'm thinking that just.
Yeah, I just gave it up after the foul. Like, I won't try to short it again. Once the stock defy my technical analysis, I'm like, no, if I can't read it, I'm not trading it. I'm like, nah.
I mean, it's got some now. The crazy thing is it's just a moving. Getting lower lows. Every huge dip like this, if you look at the last 3 huge dips, even the last 4 dips it's took, it doesn't dip as far each time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna start wrapping it up here. We about 2 hours in, so I don't want to hold everybody all night. Even though I'm pretty sure that we can have these conversations probably for another 2 hours or so, but.
Well, yeah, man, for sure.
We're gonna save some for.
I'm probably going to call fish
for next.
Have more of it
for next Sunday. So, I want to appreciate the Kingdom family for coming to tap in with us. This Sunday and all. I think this can become a every Sunday afternoon, and like I said, this is only half of you guys. Honestly, this is only half of you guys. So. The conversation can definitely get a whole lot deeper with, we're going to have a different conversation just about every week just because we have so many different styles of and minds, in one community. So, super, super dope. And I see trying to make it instead of dissecting the futures market right now.
Oh, bro, I'm destroying the futures market right now. I'm literally up like 2 bands.
I just put the camera on.
Man, and I minimized it to pay attention. Good for you, man.
When you went long, and I think when you kind of like started focusing more on the stream, that's when the whole market just started dumping. Michael, I think the second you looked away, the market was like, all right, Michael's done going long. We can take a rest now.
Bro, I peeked over there, bro. I just see
it's going back up now. It's going back up now.
Moving.
Pretty nice.
That's okay. I'll just wait to short gold in a few minutes.
Nice.
I think I'm a
wonderful conversation though, guys.
Definitely wonderful conversation. 2 hours worth, man. Easily. But
it's gold. It's just golden content, man. All on YouTube, man. Anybody could come on here and tune into all this free, wonderful, amazing information. It's great.
Definitely. So I want to appreciate all of you guys, all of you pillar players of the Kingdom. I appreciate you guys for tapping in and sharing knowledge with me and the rest of the royal family here. If you're in the comment section or if you've been watching, I will upload the link to the After Hours Answer the Discord so you can go back and watch it and see what all you want to take from the whole discussion. But other than that, man, we're going to load up and try to get ready for tomorrow. I'm going to tap in and see if I can make a little money on futures to see if I can add a little cushion.
Oh, yeah, you're going to love it.
Hey, I want to add a little cushion before the market open, too. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely gonna see what we can do. To the two newest members, Carly, BME, and Purunga, I want to appreciate y'all for tapping in. Also, M Finance, Michael, bro, I appreciate you for coming in, sharing your knowledge too, man. It's been a blessing to have y'all as a part of the team, and it's going to be an even bigger blessing for the people that's going to be able to learn the knowledge and information that you guys have to share going forward too. So I appreciate you guys.
Well,
Thank
thank
you,
you
man.
for
Thank
having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me too. Happy to be here.
Me too.
All right. Well, like I said, wrap it up here. We'll see you guys next Sunday, and appreciate everybody for checking out the round table. It's your boy Royalty Trades and the Kingdom family. We'll catch y'all next Sunday, and we're out.
Take care.